And on top of that, Venus has been retrograde and will be until mid-month. And this is causing all kinds of disharmony in relationships. Every sign has had different ways of dealing with this in order to continue progressing. But it's been a very hard time. It's a time to stay under the radar and stay in flight in a holding pattern until you know it's safe. And here, Virgo, you're having a little bit of personal problems too. And let's see what's going on in your spread. Down at the base of your spine for sourcing and urgings, receive the Ace of Wands. It's great to receive an ace, the first card. It's about high energy and go for it. Creative, inspirational, action-oriented change. It's a new spirit that's entering into your life. New beginnings where you're gaining confidence and courage anew. And here the clarification card's a great card too. It's the Ten of Cups, the happiness card. It's a glimpse of heaven over the rainbow of cups. It's harmony with friends and family. You've been through a lot of storms and all of a sudden the rainbow is out and life feels good to you. But there's one requirement for the Ten of Cups, and you have to live a simple life in order to be happy. A complicated life is not a happy life. Now up in the pelvic or sacrum for your arousing and awakening, receive the Hermit. That's you, Virgo, ruled by the planet Mercury. And you're seeking wisdom and enlightenment. You're seeking enlightenment from the light of the lamp and guidance from his staff. His presence indicates a desire for change in your unconscious inner self. It's kind of a personal mission of desperately seeking you in this case. You're going on a self-discovery. Wisdom is the breath that renews all things. And this is what you seek. And you also seek illumination, which is Latin for spiritual enlightenment. And the clarification card is excellent too. It's the Seven of Pentacles. I call this almost the harvest card. It's like you're a farmer and you have a crop that's almost ripe but not quite. And this is the attentive time. It's the very perilous time where you could have a flood, hail, frost. You may not receive the abundance for your labors. So you have to stay vigilant. Now up in the solar plexus, you receive the Devil. This is where the meat and potatoes come in. This could be an addiction, hedonism, some kind of denial, selfishness, pitfalls for the shadow self, bad choices, facing what you fear the most. But I think you kind of let things get out of hand. Virgos are there to serve. It's the cat and dog type syndrome where dogs have masters and cats have servants. And somebody's acting like you're the underdog and they're the cat and they want to be served. I could say it's the other way around, but I don't feel it that way. There's some kind of fear, bondage, dominance going on. Something really narcissistic about that. And this has to do with the clarification card, the Knight of Wands. This immature knight can be very cutthroat. He's fire energy and he makes smoke that blinds him and he doesn't even know where he's going. It causes confusion. Only his horse sometimes knows the destination. And I don't really like the Knight of Wands because I've seen many times where he gallops by and wallops somebody on the head with his wand and just knocks them unconscious. This is a very immature feeling to him because his actions are thoughtless. And it's not until he slows down to a gallop does he even realize what he's doing. This is where quick and unexpected things flow in his arrival and wake. And this has a lot to do with the Devil card. Capricorn rules the Devil. And this might have something to do with a Capricorn because you receive the Devil card twice in the spread. Somewhere somebody's treating you very condescendingly. They're a manipulator. You're obsessed with control. Because you're the type that's really easygoing. Yeah, fine, I'll help you, I'll do that. But when it comes to the point where they're emasculating people into eunuchs, it's really time to do something about it. Now the central card is the Moon. There's secrets, hidden things, deception. And the reflective light of the moon can be so dim that it can really instill fear. There's a darkness in your life, but it's not that light fails to shine. It's that you fail to see it. Things aren't what they appear to be. And I think your mind has been playing tricks that everything's been okay, hunky-dory. And you got the Ace of Wands and the Ten of Cups. But something threw you into personal isolation to find enlightenment. And now you're doing some soul searching. The clarification card is the Ace of Cups. It could be a new lease on emotions and loving, making deeper relationships. Doesn't necessarily to mean a love affair, but it's more of a seed of emotional awareness, the budding, an offering of a spiritual awakening. It's a holy grail waiting to be filled. It's a person that loves to be loved, and that definitely is a Virgo. And this is what you've been seeking. But in this instance, this Ace of Cups has a lot of strings attached to it. There's no unconditional love from some people in your life. It's more like, you do this for me, and maybe I'll do that for you. Now on the bottom right, for the throat and communicating and teachings, you receive the Justice card. Oh yeah, there's going to be some comeuppance because, as you notice, the clarification card is the Devil card again. Somebody hasn't acted right. They've acted very immaturely. They've acted like a tyrant. Let's just get down to it. And now Justice is going to start wielding her sword for punishment and accountability. There's going to be a change in the pecking order, it appears. And it really is time for something to change. You don't have an enemy, but you do have an opponent. Somebody that's vying you, pushing you to the limit. And all of a sudden, you're changing. Up in the third eye, for seeing and envisioning, you receive the Nine of Cups. It's a wish card. You've wished for a very long time for change. And the clarification card is the Strength card. It's time for you to buck up and find some strength. Now it's time to tame the beast of the other person. Dispel your fears. And when you dispel fears, normally it's finding patience. But there's a reason for you to have lost your patience. And you just want to find a spiritual domain of enlightenment and go on with your life with the balance of compassion and intellect that you live with. This is coming down to mastering your challenges, or they will master you and continue to. Now up in the crown, for your knowing and understanding, you receive the Lover's card. You want an egalitarian, harmonious relationship with somebody, and I don't think you found it. And this doesn't necessarily have to be a love relationship or your spouse or your intended significant other. It can be through family and friends. But this card makes you make a decision. It's about choices of vice versus virtue. And you have to make a good choice. Now the clarification card is the High Priestess. She's the translator from the cosmos to earthly. She's the one that brings dreams and intuitions. And sometimes even just coincidental things that all of a sudden you think, wow, what happened there? Because her subtle message has suddenly been heard by you. Now the past card, once again, is the Knight of Wands. This immature, narcissistic person that's making your life miserable. The person that gallops by every time and condescendingly whops you with the wand in the head and says, hey, stupid, what are you doing? Now the future card is the Five of Swords. This card's about having a battle that's not worth it anymore. People just threw the swords down and walked away, and maybe this person that's holding the swords thinks they were the winner. Ha ha ha, goading. But in reality, you can't leave your life like that. You have to start taking control of it. Having the strength to do that. Changing the whole pecking order and demoting the person that has been antagonizing you. And I pulled a clarification card for that just to see what's going on and if you can overcome this personal problem with somebody else. You got the World card. The cycle is over. You've broken the routine. And now you're on your own. And you're free. No longer in bondage from this one person. Okay, and now for the Doreen Virtue messages from the Angel card. You receive Layla. Spend time alone in nature, meditating about your desires and intentions. Ask the angels to help you gain a positive perspective. And I think that has a lot to do with the Hermit. That's ruled by Virgo. You went into a meditation. And you're changing your perspective all the way through the spread. Let's go into the reading for the present. You receive the Hermit and the Hanged Man. Both are contemplative cards, but there's a nuance of difference between them. The Hermit is about the desire to change your unconscious inner self. You're seeking the light of wisdom, the light in his lamp for enlightenment, and using a staff as a guide. They say that wisdom is the breath of power that renews all things. Now the Hanged Man is about contemplation too, but it's Odin, the god of the Norse, who had hung for 9 days upside down to receive the wisdom of the runes, secret ancient letters. But he sacrificed himself for rebirth. And in this contemplative state, there's a requirement for sacrifice. Now up above, for your prospects, you receive the Six of Swords and the Page of Wands. The Six of Swords is about moving on. Sometimes it's about escaping or fleeing a bad situation, but I just see you moving on, moving away from something that you've been used to all your life. But it's a sword card, so there's a sharp edge to it. And the Page of Wands is about fire, transformational fire. And what you're moving on to is more inspirational, creative ideas that have been a whirlwind in your mind that you've never acted on before. And all of a sudden, something has changed. Now, the cards for your past is the Four of Pentacles and the Tower. The Four of Pentacles is called the Miser card, but to me it's more about hanging on to something. Hanging on to something that probably isn't serving you anymore. It has no advantage in your life. Even though this card is about money, it seems to me that, or it feels like you've been chaste about something, and it's not about money, but it's about your own well-being, and you've been ignoring it and overlooking it to make other people happy. But the clarification card is changing that because you received the Tower. It's a sudden change. It's a sudden collapse. It's a relief. It's a release from bondage. The lightning is a divine force that's changing everything in your life. And now after your contemplative state, you're prepared for the new challenges in your life. And I pulled a clarification card for the Four of Pentacles and the Tower, and you received the Hierophant. The Hierophant is about seeking truth and balancing right and wrong. And I don't think there's been a lot of truth in your life, and there's probably been a few wrongs more than rights that now have to change. And it's suddenly changed in your mind and in your life. Now down for the problems, you receive the Seven of Pentacles. I call this card almost a harvest. And it's the tenuous time before you harvest where hail, rain, flood can ruin everything, and you're not going to receive the abundance from the fruit of your labors. And Virgo works very hard for their rewards. Now the clarification card is the Queen of Cups, and I can say, oh, she's the nurturing mother and this and that, and of course with her staring at a closed-lidded cup, it indicates intuition and that you should be using your intuition. But I pulled another clarification card, and it's the Seven of Pentacles again. It's a repeat. Thing is that you've gotten to the point where you almost have received the rewards for all your labors, and you never got it. You just keep looking for love because the Queen of Cups is there, but you haven't found it. And then I pulled another clarification card, and it's the Two of Swords. Two means decision, balance, partnership. This is something you haven't found, and it's telling you now it's time to make a decision. Do you want to find the love that you've been looking for? Do you want to harvest the bounty that you've worked so hard for? Now up in the possibilities are the possibilities for posterity and prosperity. You receive the Six of Wands and the Queen of Swords. Now the Six of Wands is about victory from a contest or a competition, and you're being honored for it. And the Queen of Swords is about words, and she's stolid type person. Now either your possibilities will come true if you start taking the posture of the Queen of Swords and being more stolid and making decisions without using emotions and using logic. Or else there's a person, queen, male or female, in your life that's been restricting you and is going to say very harsh words to you. And it's really up to you in what you decide in your meditative state as to where you go in your future.